It's a lot to talk about in Parsha B'Shalach, but something that caught my eye was reading the psukim of right after the Shirat Hayam. There's psukim, so I kind of got caught into a mixture of parshanut, but also somewhat of a halachic shiur also. You'll see what I mean. So the first part, I guess, will be a little bit more parshanut, understanding what the psukim are telling us, asking questions, and the second part of the questions is to understand specifically the takana of Kriyat Torah, what's the significance of, according to Chazal, that they went 3 days without water. So if you read in Perek Tet Vav, it says, Vayasa Moshe et Yisrael miyam suf, Vayetzu al midbar shur, Vayelchu shloshet yamim bamidbar v'lo matzu mayim, Vayavo marata v'lo yachlu lishtot mayim imara, Ki marim heim, Alkein kara shma mara. Vayilonu ha'am Moshe leimor ma nishteh. Vayitzak el Adonai, vayareu Adonai eitz, vayashleich el hamayim, vayimteku hamayim sham samlo chok u'mishpat v'sham nisau. And finally, vayomer im shema tishma l'ko Adonai Elohecha, vayashar beinav tasev v'zatal mitzvotav, v'shamarta kol chukav kol ha'machala shesamti b'mitzrayim lo asim alecha, ki ani Adonai rofecha. So already, if we start looking at the psukim, it seems that they travel from the Yam Suf, they go to Midbar Shur, but it doesn't just say they traveled. It says, Vayasa Moshe et Yisrael miyam suf. What does the word Vayasa mean?
He made them go.
He made them go. Why? Because that's in Hifil, nachon? It's in Hifil, he caused them. So the question is, why did he have to make them? Right? Why did he have to make them leave Yam Suf? So there are, now I know, before I would have started this year, I would have said there are two possibilities, but Ms. Wasser even said already a third possibility. So what are the possibilities? Why are you forced? Why would you have to force them to leave Yam Suf? What do you think?
They didn't want to leave.
What?
They didn't want to leave.
Right, but why wouldn't they want to leave? The assumption is they don't want to leave then. Right? If you have to force them. This guy's good. He's good. Yeah. What do we got? Love this guy. Loves Torah. Yeah. What do you say?
Maybe they're comfortable there.
They're comfortable there. Why are they so comfortable?
They have a lot of stuff.
They got a lot of stuff. What type of stuff are you talking about?
Like spoils.
Spoil. So that's what Rashi says, right? Rashi says because they got some good stuff in the Yam Suf, right? They have the Vayishalu Anshe Mitzrayim, the Tachshitim of Kesef, which they took from Mitzrayim, and now they have the spoils from their adorned horses, from their Alexis, that they got over the Yam Suf. So that's the pasuk in Perek Aleph and Shiur Shrim of Torah Zahav Nasalach Im Nekudat HaKasev. Therefore, you had to force them. Good.
Can you also say like the Shemach that there were amazing nisim there and
They were what? Say it again.
There were huge nisim there and they wanted to stay there because they gained a lot of emunah there. They wanted
Right.
to stay there.
I think that would be the other interpretation. Right? That's what I thought also, and I saw it in Rav Shimshon Rafal Hirsch. I couldn't put that into the Bar Ilan. So Rav Shimshon Rafal Hirsch says what Dave said, and I'll just read it for you quickly. Emet, where is it? Emet dai haya b'nisim shera'u al hayam u'gvurot Hashem shechazu sham beinehem. It's sufficient that the miracles they saw in the Yam, the gvurot Hashem. La'atzor et rucham v'nafsham makom hazel orach yamim. Stayed there forever. V'ariyata yalehem, but now it's time to go. Makom she'Hashem b'chvado v'atzmo natan lehem machzeu magen. Hashem gave them their own refuge. Eloto, but now they have to go to this midbar. Shamim. Vayetzu. They have to leave. Right? It actually, when I learned it this week, it made me think of another...
Meraglim.
What?
Meraglim.
What about the Meraglim? Didn't make me think about that, but what about the Meraglim?
Some people say that the reason why they want to go into Eretz Yisrael is because they're living life on such a high level.
Good.
Midbar.
That's also true.
It's like going from a spiritual life to a physical
Good.
life.
That's definitely true. Also, very, very similar is the beginning in Sefer Dvarim, where what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell Am Yisrael by... Right. What does he say? Rav lachem pnu... Right? Pnu lachem miyamakom hazeh, the paraphrase, and go to Eretz Yisrael, which is what? They're at Har Sinai, and I think it was the same idea, such a high level, right? So you just want to stay there, right? And many people right? On a certain level, that becomes our Mitzrayim on a certain level. It's paradoxical, right? We always think Mitzrayim means that you have to like leave out of your negative piece, but it's Pumfaker, what the Sifrei Hasidim say, which is the last level you achieved. So you know there's good. You're supposed to feel good about the level that you've achieved, but if you just stay there, then all of a sudden that level then becomes Mitzrayim also, keeps you restricted also. So that could very well be the Vayasa Moshe et Yisrael miyam suf. Vayetzu el midbar shiur. They go to midbar. There's midrashim about why the name shiur, whether it was shurot. What exactly is the significance of the name midbar shiur? It's also, they say it's midbar eitam. Okay, then it's vayelchu shlosh yamim bamidbar v'lo matzu mayim. They go 3 days literally without water, and as we will learn in the drash, without Torah. We'll come back to that. Vayavo marata, seemingly the name of the place. V'lo yachlu lishtod mayim mimara. Why? Ki marim heim. Therefore, akain karashma mara. Therefore, they called. Seemingly, the pshat, I didn't write it down, I think it was from the Orach Chaim, is saying not the place, because the name it was already named Marata, but rather the Ma'yan there, the water source was then called Mara. I think that's a simple pshat in the pasuk. So what's their response though? Right, here it comes a little interesting. Here it's Vayilonu Amma Moshe Lemor Manishteh. So here they start complaining. Right, they start complaining, and Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch here loves the Lena aspect. Right, they want the refuge. Right, the concept of to complain about it. Right, it's interesting they don't daven. Right at this point, right, literally just finishing Kriyat Yamsuf. Right, Vayilonu am Moshe Lemor Manishteh. What are we going to drink? So what happens? So Moshe davens. Vayitzak el Adonai, vayoreu Adonai eitz, vayashlech el amayim, vayimteku amayim, sham sam lo choku mishpat v'sham nisau. So I really want to focus on this pasuk. So what's going on in this pasuk? What happens? No? So Moshe davens, give me water. What Bassin says is Hashem shows him the tree. What's wrong with Bassin's pshat? What should it have said according to you, Reb David? To show, proper Hebrew. Vayarehu, right? That's what it should have said, right? Vayarehu. That would mean show him, right? But it doesn't say that, right? What does it say? Vayorehu. What does Vayorehu mean? Taught him, right? To teach him, right? To teach him, right? Vayorehu Hashem eitz, right? The simple pshat is that Hashem is teaching Moshe / the people, teaching them the lesson of the giving tree. A little Sheldon Silverstein, if you will. Right? Teaching you what? The lesson of the tree. What tree? The Midrashim talk about which tree. Vayashlech el amayim, threw it into the water. Vayimteku amayim, and then the water became sweet. Sham samlo. Choku mishpat v'sham nisau. So we have to figure out what is this sham sam alo. What is this choku mishpat? V'sham nisahu could mean the Rabbeinu Bachai sees v'sham nisau as descriptive of everything that's going on here. V'sham nisau. If you look at the Rabbeinu Bachai in the third source, he said every single action that's going on right now is an nisayon. Going through the midbar with all the families without water during the summertime, great nisayon. Right? The water was sweet, became bitter. It was all a miracle. V'sham nisau. Okay? Fine. Now, that's what Rabbeinu Bachai, V'sham nisau being descriptive of everything that's going on here. Okay? But there's the Rashi before him that says, what is sham samalo? So Rashi here comes up with something that's based on a Gemara in Sanhedrin that's very difficult. It says, B'mara natan lahem miksat parshiot el Torah shitasku bahem Shabbat, Para Aduma, and Dinim. Right? So this, I think the pshat is that within that he's saying Chok is the Para Aduma, right? Mishpat is the Dinim. Shabbat, you got to figure out where he finds Shabbat here within the pshat. I mean, somehow Sham Samlo, there's got to be some remez to Shabbat somehow. But there's a different girsa also. The other girsa, it's not those three mitzvot, but there's or either a fourth or take out paraduma and kibbut aveim. And the question before we see the Ramban also is, what's the teaching of the tree? What's the message possibly that Kadosh Baruch Hu is trying to teach Am Yisrael at this point, specifically at to be right after Kriyat Yam Suf on the way to Eretz Yisrael? And furthermore, why these mitzvot? What's special about these mitzvot? I think I once heard a drasha from Rav Aaron Adler about it, Rav Yosef Adler's brother. And I saw it also, I didn't bring it down, but also similar, but it's been in my head for years also, about what's special about these mitzvot. Why Shabbat? Why Para Aduma? Why Dinim? Why does Hashem have to give him like a pregame show? Like a head start, to be able to look at the game book early before Har Sinai? What do you think? Why these mitzvot? Why not tzedakah? Don't everybody... Emunah and bitachon. What about emunah and bitachon? How does...
maybe not. No,
what's special about each one? Why would you... What?
Part of them is special because there's no reason that we know.
Right, that's the chok. There's no reason for it. So why do I need to teach, to give you a hint, at least the way I'm thinking, why would I need these mitzvot? Why do they need this head start? Where are they coming from? Right? Where are they coming from that they might need this course? There's a certain course that's going on over here in Mara, right? That's what Mara is, right? Mara here is there's a certain course that's going on to help Am Yisrael to get to the next stage of Har Sinai, or to be able to work through the Midbar to get to Eretz Yisrael, right? That idea. So it could be, think about it, you're a slave, right? That's what's happened. You were just a slave in Mitzrayim. So if you think about the different things that you don't have when you have a slave in Mitzrayim, what don't you have, for example, right? Shabbos. What's Shabbos? Shabbos is stopping, being able to think, being able to know, to commemorate, to think what's important to you, right? Dafka within right? There's a famous Emes LeYaakov, famous because I know it, that Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky talks about that's the Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat that we say in Tehillim, which has absolutely nothing to do with Shabbat specifically, talks about Tzadik V'Ra'ala. And the idea, he has a theory, it's based on medrash, that they used to have these Megillot, that the Avadim in Mitzrayim would have their rest time, and then they would go through this to get chizuk of what's going on. And Paro saw this, and he says, Tichpad Avodah. There's no more resting. Meaning, now all of a sudden, they've been working, right? It's classic in philosophy of, Shawshank Redemption, right? Which is the, what I'm talking about? Okay. Yeah, 1980s, 90s, I don't know. 90s? Early 90s. Oh boy. You know what I'm saying? You did see it. You might have been 8 years old, but you did see it. You're like at least 13, right? At least, So the concept is, what are you going to do when you're out? I don't know what to do with my free time. It's a really old movie. There was two old guys that would steal from a bank. You know what I'm talking about? There was a, you guys,
What, the Sting?
Not the Sting. There were these two old guys that were professional robbers, and moms, they got out and they I'm gonna stay clean, and one of them just has the itch, I don't know what to do, you know what I'm saying, this is what I do, I steal, I steal banks, I rob banks. It's the same idea. What am I gonna do? Shabbos, you know what I'm saying, what am I supposed to do? So on a certain level, you need training for that. I think the same idea when it comes to kibbut aveim. What is kibbut aveim all about? Depends, I guess, on which age you are of what kibbut aveim is all about. But in theory, what's kibbut aveim all about? Not just annoying and nagging parents, but what?
Appreciation.
Appreciation is also true.
Taking care of him.
What?
Taking care of him.
Taking care of you. What else? Akarat Tov, gratitude. But it's also about, right? But kibbut aveim is a certain authority, right? There's a certain samchut that happens when you have kibbut aveim. Right? Everyone know, I think at least how I understand it, in normal families, as much as you're close to your parents, your bottom line is you don't know you don't know how much money they're making. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain samchut that they have. They say, why? Because Abba said so. You know what I'm saying? That Abba said so. And all of a sudden, to have that, and again, I think the same idea of Hakarat Tov also could very well be the same message. You know what I'm saying? To be able, within the slave, you're not even looking, you could say that I guess that you are normally looking for the good, but for sure, the concept of accepting samchut is, I think, very, very difficult in how to deal with that. And the last thing, what Eitan said about the para duma, which is, just the chok, similarly but a little different, which is there's no reason for it at all. I mean, there's no reason. So they're used to that. No, they're used to building vayivin at what was it? What's the language? Ramses, Pitam Ramses. Just do it for no reason at all. So on a certain level, there's a certain association that I don't want to do that anymore, right? I want to have meaning. So it could well be that that's maybe why these mitzvot were chosen. The Ramban, he has a couple different interpretations, but the Ramban explains, if you look at Derech HaPshat, the Ramban I thought was very interesting. He says, Al Derech HaPshat, right in the middle of the last source on page 1. Al Derech HaPshat, kasher echelu lavo b'midbar hagadol, v'anora v'tzimaon, sher ein mayim sham lahem b'michyatam v'tzorchihem, minagim asher yinhagu bahem ad boam el eretz no shavet. Ki minhag, right, normal way of having normal needs, that's called chok. Ki inyan hatrifeni lechem chuki, chukot shamayim v'aretz. V'yikra, what is mishpat? What's chok mishpat? Chok is the normal way of life, and mishpat is the proper measure, proper shiur. V'chein koas hadavid v'chol mishpato koyamim. This is the normal way. Ki mishpat arishon asher yita mashkeu, etc., etc. Or a different pshat, he says, she yisreim b'chukei midbar. He now tests them. He now pains them with the laws of the desert. Lispol arav v'atzamei, in order that they learn how to likro bahem el Hashem. Lo derech tluna, on a certain level, that he's trying to teach them how to deal with difficulties. Umishpatim, which is really fascinating. Shichyu bahem le'ahov ishet reyehu ulinaheg ba'atzat hazkenim v'atznei alechet ba'oleihem binyan anashim v'ayeladim shinagu shalom im habayim b'machaneh limkor lehem davar v'toch echot musar shelo yu k'machanot hasholelim sher yasu kol toivav v'lo yitposhashu. On a certain level, it's camp. On one level, it's camp outside. But it's more than camp. It's basically saying to teach people how to, before you have Matan Torah, you have to understand how you have family, and how you have to have a community of Tochachat Musar. It's crucial, before you get to Matan Torah, the Mishpatim, where I guess it could be connected also, having the family and having the community, also the Chukim of living with difficulty, but it's crucial, what the Ramban says, the Mishpat is how to live with the family, how to be able to nishmartami kol davara. I thought that was very fascinating. I'll be a pshat, what it means chok umishpat. And then the last piece before we get to the halachic piece, as we said before, the vayoreu Hashem eitz. So I think there's at least two interpretations, which again, it's basically very, very similar. That vayoreu Hashem eitz, right? What does it mean by Yereu Hashem eitz? Hashem, as I said, right, according to Chazal, the eitz itself was bitter, even though, again, from the pshat, you don't know that. But the midrashim say the eitz was bitter and there was a nes b'toch nes, right? That Hashem he sweetened the water, the bitter water, with the bitter eitz. But I think a different pshat is Vayreu Hashem eitz. Eitz is referring to Torah, and one way to deal with bitterness is the concept of being able to go into the Torah as your rofecha, to be able to help you understand how to not lama but lama, how to deal with difficulties.